Hello everyone, my name is Mansi Rai and I'm an intern at ubAdvocate. My topic for presentation is POCSO Act and its misuse. The Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act was enacted in 2012 to mandate the provisions of the UN Convention on the Rights of Children and to protect the children from heinous crimes of sexual abuse and sexual exploitation by incorporating child-friendly mechanisms. Key features of the POCSO Act are: it's a general neutral act. POCSO Act defines child as any person below the age of 18 years and sets a general neutral tone for the legal framework available to child sexual abuse victims. Confidentiality of victims' identity. Section 23 of the POCSO Act prohibits disclosure of the victim's identity in any form of media, except when permitted by the special courts established under the Act. No time limit for reporting abuse. Victim can report an offense at any time, even several years after the abuse has been committed. Misuse of POCSO by minor girls' family. Consented sexual intimacy between two adolescents or between an adolescent and an adult are considered illegal under the POCSO. No exception has been granted under the Act to make consensual sexual intercourse between teenagers legal. As difference between teenage consensual sex and non-consensual sex is hard to differentiate, the changes brought on the age of consent by the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 under the Indian Penal Code, which has changed the age of consent from 16 to 18, is like assault on the boy. This minor girl's parents are misusing the provisions of POCSO Act by implicating the boy, even in instances of harmless consensual romantic relationship. This becomes possible because the Act does not provide any clarity on consensual sexual act between two adolescents and forego any possibility of consent given between persons under the age of 18, meaning if a 17-year-old boy or girl had a 19-year-old sexual partner, that partner would be liable to be booked under the provisions of the POCSO Act. Further, the judicial decisions regarding this issue has been in controversy for some time, as the course has been divided between taking the liberal way of holding adolescents' right to a consensual sexual relationship or the other view holding that consent is immaterial under the POCSO Act. The few of the decisions of the courts are State versus Sumandas. In this case, a 15-year-old girl fled from home to marry a 22-year-old man and admitted that she had willingly had sexual intercourse with him, whereas the family of the girl alleged by filing a complaint of kidnapping and sexual assault against the man. Justice Harmeet Sharma, while delivering the judgment, observed that a strict interpretation of the POCSO Act would mean that human body of every individual under the age of 18 is the property of the state, and no individual below 18 can be allowed to have the pleasures associated with one's body. He reasoned that the words penetrative sexual assault used in Section 3 of the POCSO Act goes to suggest that where physical relationships or sexual intercourse had taken place without the consent of a girl child, such which is derived by coercion or is in the nature of assault or use of criminal force. Here, where the consent is not obtained for unlawful purpose, no offense within the ambit of Section 3 of the POCSO Act can be said to have been committed. The next case is Ashok Thondiba Kale versus State of Maharashtra 2018. Here the court discussed the powers of quashing of FIR in the cases of POCSO. Here the family of a minor girl had filed a missing report alleging that accused has taken her daughter away on false pretext of marriage, where his daughter admitted that she, out of love and affection, had left her home and married the accused, and later on had sexual intercourse with him and delivered a child. Thus, he contended that her case falls within the exception 2 of Section 375 of Indian Penal Code. This exception 2 of Section 375 of Indian Penal Code makes sexual intercourse or acts of consensual sex of a man with his own wife, not being under the age of 15 years, not an offense. Court in this case denied quashing of FIR as they said that nothing of such provision is found under the POCSO Act. Moreover, as provided in Section 42A, if there is any inconsistency, POCSO Act will prevail, as it is a special act dealing with the rights of children, whereas IPC is a general criminal law. Further, the court observed that Section 376 of Indian Penal Code as well as POCSO Act both deal with offences that are against the society, and as such cannot be quashed by the court generally, but would be governed by peculiar circumstances. In the case of ERA versus State and City of Delhi, the bench of Justice Deepak Misra and R.F. Nariman observed that the POCSO Act was enacted with the main purpose of protecting the children from sexual abuse, assault, harassment, and exploitation, and for further securing the best interest of the child. Best interest and well-being has to be regarded as a paramount importance at every stage to ensure they have the health, physical, whether it be physical, emotional, or intellectual, so to have a social development of the child. The main purpose of POCSO Act is to identify minors and protect them by prescribing statutory age, which has nexus with their legal eligibility to give consent. At the end, the whole point in the issue is what is the legal eligibility to give consent? I would like to conclude this presentation by pointing out that as sexual mores evolve in society, archaic conditions, socially stigmatizing and scrutinizing with restrictions are a setback to freedom and sexual agency of adolescents, and can often be misused by families to cover up cases of elopement and intercaste marriages. The ambiguity relating to legality of consensual sexual acts between two adolescents or an adolescent and an adult need to be reframed, keeping in mind the needs of today's adolescents. Thank you.